All right, the only problem with sweeping the nation with so much hope is now Barack Obama has to actually fulfill his promises. CNN Deputy Political Director Paul Steinhauser joins us with a new poll that is out. All right, here's where it all comes down, right? Because you've got a man who has inspired all this hope and is a historic win, and now people are expecting a great deal.
Yeah, call it, I guess, a case of great expectations. We got brand new numbers out, Reggie, this hour, right now. CNN and the Opinion Research Corporation, this is a national poll, and take a look at some of these numbers. We asked Americans nationwide what they thought about Barack Obama. Well, is he going to change the country? Will he change the country and make it better? 63% said yes, he's going to make it better. Only at 9%, look at that, just 9%. Less than 1 in 10 Americans think he's going to make it worse, and 1 in 4 think no change whatsoever. What do they think he's going to do? Before we go to the next graphic, just stay here for a second. And they think he is going to do a lot. Like he's going to end the war in Iraq. He's going to get the war in Afghanistan over. He's going to do a lot of things. So they think he's going to lower taxes, improve the economy. It's a huge to-do list, Reggie. And that's why
anything else that you would like to order today?
Oh,
I mean,
my
wow.
Lord. I mean, you name it, he's going to end global warming.
Oh,
I mean, they really have high expectations of him. And here's another number. Take a look at this. Besides all those great expectations, do you Americans have a favorable or unfavorable view of Barack Obama? 75% right now have a favorable view of Barack Obama. That's up from the election. Remember, he won about 53% of the electorate of the voting public in the election. His favorable ratings were in the 60s, and now they're up to 75%. How does that compare to past presidents-elect? Well, I'm glad you asked. Even if you didn't, you're going to take a look. All right, here they are.
There it is.
The man who came closest to him was Ronald Reagan in 1980, in a very similar situation when Ronald Reagan came in. He was at 67%. Bill Clinton was at 60% right after the November election of 1992. And take a look at the Bushes. Jr., the current president, 59%. When he finally won the election, remember, it took a long time to get there, and his father in 1988 was only at 50%. And finally, tell you that overall number, 75%, we broke it down by party. Well, I guess it's no surprise 98% of Democrats have a favorable opinion of him. Independents, 74%. 3 in 4 independents have a very favorable opinion of Barack Obama. Republicans, 41%. You may say it's low, but you know what? For Republicans, that's not so bad, considering only 1 in 10 Republicans voted for him in the election, Reggie.
You know what's interesting about that is it seems to me, and I'd like to hear what you think about this, that lately, when Barack Obama speaks, he does so in a slightly more melancholy way than he did when he was on the campaign trail, in a way, I think, to sort of temper these expectations. And yet it seems as if Americans aren't necessarily getting that.
Yeah, you know, in his in his victory speech, not concession, but in his victory speech on election night, and then at that news conference he held, the only one he's held, which was last Friday, he really did tell the Americans, listen, we got some serious problems ahead. It's going to take a while to solve these. It may take more than a year, it may take a whole first term of my presidency. So you've heard that from him. You've also heard, though, Reggie, you've heard him talking about over and over, this is not a red America, it's not a blue America, it is the United States of America. So he's trying to bring about unity, Reggie.
All right, so let's talk about the person who did make the concession speech, and that's John McCain, who is now making speeches for other elections, right here in Georgia, as a matter of fact.
Yep. You know what? The election's been over for 9 days, but he's back on the campaign trail today, as you mentioned. Not far from you, suburban Atlanta. He's up in Cobb County. Next hour, he's going to be with Saxby Chambliss. Saxby Chambliss is the freshman senator. You're seeing a live picture there of that campaign rally. Saxby Chambliss, the freshman senator from Georgia, Republican. And this election's still ongoing, Reggie, because there were 3 candidates. There was an independent candidate, and in Georgia, you need 50% plus 1. Saxby Chambliss just missed that, so that means, and they've just certified this, there will be a runoff between Saxby Chambliss and his Democratic opponent, Jim Martin, on December 2nd. So the election continues in Georgia. And you've got John McCain down there today trying to help out Saxby Chambliss. You're going to have a couple other high-name Republicans. You're going to have Mike Huckabee down there on Sunday to help campaign as well with Saxby.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and maybe next week Mitt Romney as well. This
Wow.
is an election the Republicans really want to win bad. This is an election the Democrats want to take as well, as they strive for 60 seats, a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate.
Which is now looking more and more possible, because let's say Saxby Chambliss doesn't get it and it ends up being Jim Martin. Now we've got another election in Alaska where originally on Tuesday night, election night, it looked like Ted Stevens was actually in the lead. But then, as they've been recounting, hand counting these votes, it's gone the other way.
Yep, there were after election night, there were still 90,000 votes to count. Ted Stevens, of course, the long time senator, about 4 decades, a senator from Alaska, one of the founding statehood fathers of that state. But remember, he was just convicted in federal court on corruption charges. But they're counting these 90,000 votes, and as of right now, they've counted out about 50,000 of these provisional ballots, absentee ballots, and early votes. And Ted Stevens' 3,000-point lead has disappeared, and now he's down about 1,000 votes to Mark Begich, who is the Anchorage, Alaska mayor and the Democrat. They've got about 40,000 more to count. We'll see what happens.
All right, and finally, let's go to Sarah Palin. Now, I have to say, we all knew Sarah Palin was going to talk this morning at this Florida GOP governor's conference. So the setup here was she was supposed to appear there at a news conference before she was going to address all the governors. So she comes out and, wait, this is no longer a solo.
Yeah, we were surprised when we saw this picture. I was watching this along with you and a lot of others, and you can see her there flanked by a lot of the other Republican governors. We found out from our Dana Bash that before this news conference, they had a meeting in private, her and some of the other governors, and they decided to all come out as a sign of unity. But we're now hearing from Dana Bash that some of these governors anonymously spoke to Dana, and they were upset about this because they felt that it unfairly put her in the spotlight, and it almost made it look like the rest of them were supporting her even for a possible run in 2012. So a little bit of an awkward moment there. You know, besides Sarah Palin, some of those other governors may want to run for president in 2012, and an awkward moment, no doubt about it.
It was a short moment, too. I was expecting a pretty long news conference asking a bunch of questions. And I mean, she took a few questions, but it was kind of over before I expected it to be.
Yeah, Governor Perry, who was standing right next to her of Texas, came in there basically after 4 questions and said, we're done. The official word was that they were running late and they had to get moving, but who knows?
Interesting. Well, I guess running late could be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Paul Steinhauser for us. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Reggie.